Hi, everyone. While I go ask Randy to watch my cat, make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. Rating us 5 stars and leaving a review really helps us out. So to those of you who have done so, know that we appreciate you. Enjoy today's episode, go birds, and make sure you stick around to the end to find out what's coming next. Randy, kick it off.
Welcome to Read, Watch, Play. You're diving into the stories we love and how they're adapted. This week, we're hanging out in the Lower East Side enjoying a pint at Paul's Bar. This is episode 45, covering Caught Stealing. My name is Randy Berridge, and I'm here with other failed MLB prospect Nick Hinkson. Here we go.
Okay, so I was looking for what you were going to say in here because I was trying to steel myself, and I saw the whole drinking a beer at the Lower East Side, and I was like, oh, maybe Randy's going to take it easy. No, he's going to talk about how bad I am at baseball. Thanks, sir.
You're actually great at baseball. I mean, a failed MLB prospect is better than 99% of the population.
Yeah, I guess.
And yeah, with pleasure. I would love to watch your cat anytime. Just don't put me in the middle of some henchmen trying to murder
promises. Me. That's probably why I would ask you to watch the cat.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the differences of the location of the hiding of the key. Because that took me by surprise in the movie. But before we get there, what are we covering here?
Yeah, so we are covering Caught Stealing by Charlie Huston and the screenplay adaptation of the same name, which is still in theaters today.
Yeah, recording this, I don't know what it is. It's October, September, something.
September 14th.
Yeah, so it's still out there. Check it out. I can't remember actually who was the company behind the movie. I'm wondering where it'll be coming to streaming. I'm not sure. Columbia Pictures? Yeah, no idea. So we'll see. But before we get too into Caught Stealing, a couple cool things, totally unrelated to this at all. But I don't know if you've seen the new Superman movie.
I have not.
But the guy playing Superman, David Cornsweet, he's Philadelphia native, really good as Superman. Well, and definitely just a good Clark Kent. And I don't know anything about Superman, so I was just like, this seems good. I don't know. But he was doing this show. I don't know what the context of the show was, but he was talking about, he's like, I need to get this off my chest. And because I'm promoting this movie, I have an opportunity to talk about movies. And he's like, I want to talk about Casino Royale. And he brought up this really good point, and this is also just a plug for, you can go back and listen to our Casino Royale episode. But he talks about in the beginning of that movie how you see Bond killing that guy in the black and white in the bathroom. And then he goes into that guy's office. And, that was his first kill in the bathroom. And to be a 00 agent, you need to have 2 kills. And so the guy's talking to him in the office, and he says, the first kill's the hardest. And before he can get out the second kill, Bond kills him, the guy in the office with the silencer gun. But then it flashes back again to the bathroom, and the guy wakes up after Bond thought he had drowned him. And David Cornsweet was saying what really happened was Bond got his first kill, or thought he got his first kill, reckoned with that of drowning this guy in the sink. The guy came back to life and he killed him again. So Bond's kind of already had 2 kills by this point. So by the time he walks into the office, this is no sweat popping this guy. And he's just like going on in this whole theory. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but I love him.
Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, I was like, I thought that was a pretty interesting little tidbit. And that is also type of discussion that people who are actually involved in movies can bring out, and not you and I. I would have never thought about that.
It's much more thought than I've given most things in my entire life. So
yeah,
it's cool though. I got to think about that for a while.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, because I think you're just so wrapped up in the coolness of the intro of Casino Royale, and it feels so different because it's in that noir black and white, that I wasn't really clocking the ramifications of the conversation. I'm just waiting for the gun barrel, moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool. The other thing I wanted to shout out, staying on the Philly train, is I don't know if you're watching Task on HBO. They just had their first episode set in the border of Montgomery County and Delaware County. And Mark Ruffalo is leading an FBI task force going after a string of robberies in the Philly suburbs. I mean, it's a must watch.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Right in our backyard.
right in
Yeah.
our backyard. Only one episode out. I mean, I like Ruffalo to begin with, and I think he's really good in this, but it's complete pandering. They dropped it was Scrapple, Water Ice, and something else within a 45-second span, and I was like, "They are I'm being pandered to, but it's working. Like, it's really working." What was the third? I can't remember the third thing you mentioned, but yeah, I would definitely check it out. I know you
Yeah.
you like
Oh,
a TV
checking
show,
that
so
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
good.
we're definitely checking that out today.
Yeah, the other guy, yeah, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on it. It's really good, at least so far, one episode in.
Yeah.
A little more on topic. I'm just curious, do you have a pre-existing relationship with Darren Aronofsky? I think of his other big movies like a Black Swan, like a Requiem for a Dream. I know he was an executive producer on Limitless. I'm trying to think of The Wrestler. You know, do you have any prior like, what do you think of those type of movies in general? Have you seen them? Do you care about them?
I've seen Black Swan. I've seen Limitless. I have not seen Requiem for a Dream. That one is on my to watch list, but you have to be in the right headspace before
Yeah.
you go into that movie. And I don't know that I'm ever in the right headspace to go into that movie.
No, I've
So,
kinda just avoided that one.
no shade to the movie. I hear it's fantastic. I think it's critically acclaimed as well as loved by the audiences that do watch it.
Yeah,
A little tough.
yeah. Black Swan was a bit of a moment. Like, I remember
Yeah, it
for that being,
was
like, a pretty
huge.
art house film, that was a big deal when it came out.
It was nominated for stuff, right? Like Oscars.
Probably. We were in college then. I vividly remember a house of 4 dudes just going to see Black Swan because, I don't know, it was really caught up in the moment then.
Oh, Jesus. It was nominated a lot.
Yeah,
Uh, Academy Award for Best Actress, Academy Award for Best Picture, Independent Spirit Award for Best BAFTA Awards, MTV Golden Globes, Academy Award for Best Directing. I mean, you're right. It had a moment.
yeah. Yeah, what was it says right here that it had 1 Oscar win. What was the Oscar win?
Uh,
Natalie Portman, Best Lead Actress. That makes sense.
yeah, she was great in that.
Yeah, I remember liking it, but I remember it, like most Aronofsky movies, leaving me feeling awful. Like, I just remember it's not you don't walk out of there fist pumping to Black Swan, but you're just kinda like it's an exhausting experience is what I remember it being.
That's a fair assessment.
I'm surprised you haven't seen The Wrestler. I think you would really like The Wrestler. Mickey
I've never
Rourke.
heard of The Wrestler.
Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei. Oh, man. Fated professional wrestler must retire, but finds his quest for a new life outside the ring to be a dispiriting struggle. Oh, man. Movie rocked me when it came out. It's a really good one.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll check it out.
yeah, I'll check that out. But yeah, I mean, as we get into talking about this one, I think this is a little bit different in terms of an Aronofsky because this is just a little bit of a fun romp, this movie, in comparison to how his other ones leave you. We'll talk about if you have those same feelings for the book. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the theme for this story, I was like, this is really a classic someone in over their head, which can be an exciting theme. I don't know. Do you have any other favorites of something like a movie or a book where someone just gets wrapped up into something and they're just way in over their head and it's just spiraling out of control?
John Wick. And hear me out.
Yeah.
They may have all been part of the underworld before,
Yeah.
but they did not know what they were getting into with John Wick.
Oh, the other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
John Wick knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Everybody else who tries to fuck with John Wick has no idea what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And they're in way over their head.
Yeah. That's a great. When you first said that, I was like, I think John Wick is properly up to his head.
John Wick is what's over your head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. What's his? I can't remember what's Theon's name in John Wick.
Theon Greyjoy? I don't
Theon
know.
Greyjoy. Yeah. He is absolutely drowning. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I was thinking many of the Coen Brothers movies, like a Fargo or even a Big Lebowski, Burn After Read. They're classics where it's just everyday people who just things start snowballing and get way out of control. And usually there's some
Oh, brother, where
hilarity
art thou?
involved. Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like it is almost a hallmark of their style. I was thinking Training Day. Ethan Hawke kind of gets
Yeah.
way in over his head in Training Day.
Oh, yeah.
I think of that scene when Denzel leaves him at the drug house. That talk about attention. That was making me shit my pants at 11 years old.
Good Will Hunting, maybe?
Yeah, Good Will Hunting's a good one.
Matt Damon is clearly in over his head.
Yeah. Is it Emily Blunt who is the one in Sicario?
Yes.
She gets pretty in over her head.
Yeah.
It can be, and I mean, those are ones. Sicario is one where it's not played for laughs at all. Training Day is not played for laughs. There's other ones, I think occasionally like a Train Spotting where there's some laughs, but it's like things just snowball outside of their control. It usually ends in violence, all of these. But that was just kind of like a little bit of a theme I was thinking of with this one. And I thought it was also a big one where the location, and this might be a critique for me of the movie when we get to it. New York felt so integral to the book. And maybe it's easier because he can just write about all these locations in New York that they're traveling across. But it almost felt like New York was a character in this story. And I don't know if it was that much in the movie.
Yeah, Caught Stealing, the movie, was pretty city agnostic.
Yeah.
You needed a city where there's a bar and small flats, and that's really it. I mean, there was the brief shout out to Coney Island,
It's true.
but even that, it was, if you didn't know what you were looking at, you might not have recognized it as Coney Island.
Yeah.
And then there was Shea Stadium with the Mets, but you could just insert any other team there. If
Yeah.
that's the only landmark that's New York specific, you could change that.
Have you ever been to Coney Island?
I've not.
Me neither. I kind of thought about that when this came up. I'm like, I don't know if there's anything that special there. I'm sure it's awesome if you're a kid who grew up in New York and you're just looking to escape to the coast for a little
Right.
bit. But for the culture, I'd like to go to Coney Island, just see what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough living in New York when you have to be a Mets or Yankees fan. You don't
Yeah.
get great sports.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to shit on Coney Island right now.
How about, man, the Mets just absolutely have imploded. And
Good. As they should.
I'm not above this, I'll be honest. If there's a real bad thing that goes on for a sports team, I sometimes like to dip into that team's subreddit and just read the reactions of people. And after the Phillies swept the Mets, pretty much sinking all of their chance of, playoffs. I mean, they could still get the wild card, but we'll see. I was just hate reading the Mets fans in their subreddit, just having an
I love that.
absolute meltdown.
I respect that about you.
Yeah, it was great. I'm not proud of it, but I do it.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Don't sell yourself short. I respect that
Because we've
a
all
lot,
been there.
actually.
We've all been there having the meltdown. So it's just nice to see other people have the meltdown.
There's not many teams I would do that for, but the Mets are certainly one of them.
The Mets are certainly, I do it to the Cowboys as well. There's a few that Reddit will suggest to me, subreddits, that I refuse to join. But if, there's a big post-match thread, I'll be scrolling Reddit and then I'll just be like, hey, you might want to check out the New York Giants subreddit right now. Because once again, they suck. So everyone is losing their minds. It's great. That was one funny part of Caught Stealing was in the beginning when he was like, I wrote it down exactly because it was so funny. He's like, I will not cry when the Giants lose. I just don't have it in me. I was like, that is so relatable. Something I appreciated about this, was just you can tell it comes from a person who is passionate about sports, obviously, as it's so ingrained. And he really got the beats right of how it can feel to support a team to the death sometimes and the grip that has on your life.
I feel like Caught Stealing, the book, to your point, did a really good job. And I could have used a little more of it in the movie.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's hard because we talk about this all the time. This Caught Stealing is primarily an inner monologue of our protagonist here,
Yeah.
with some dialogue and some events going on, but it is primarily him working through his feelings. And that's
Yeah.
really hard to transfer to the screen
Yeah.
in a movie that has so many action sequences that you're trying to fit into an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the character of Hank is really going on an internal journey here, and that is tough to capture. I only had one rapid fire question for you before we really get into this, because I think we're
Okay.
kind of like teetering on the edge. I don't know if you have any, but I had New York or LA.
LA.
Yeah, I'm an LA person too. And that is like, for me, that is like choosing between two amazing places. So it's not a knock against New York. I think New York's a lot of fun to go to as a city. Great time there. Great food city
Maybe.
for sure. But I prefer LA. I don't know, just do.
Yeah. Listen, here's my thing. If I'm gonna go to New York, I'd rather just go to Philly. See people I know, the city I love. I don't need what's like unique about New York. I just go to Philly. And if I want something different, I go to LA. Why would I not pick LA over New York?
Yeah. I mean, weather for sure. Way
Infinitely
better.
better.
Infinitely way better. The only knock for me is you must drive in LA. And as a person who doesn't like driving and gets car sick, that sucks. Public transportation in New York is very nice. Or not very nice, but it's very convenient, I would say.
I will say this, the people in New York are better than the people in LA. And here's my thought on East Coast versus West Coast, especially like the southern West Coast. People on the East Coast are not nice, but they are kind. People on the West Coast are nice, but not kind. So, for example, you get your car stuck in the snow, and some random guy is gonna help you dig it out, but he's gonna be telling you you're a fucking idiot. You shouldn't have done this. Who gets
Yeah.
their car stuck? But they're still helping you, right? They're still
Yeah.
doing the thing. In LA, someone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That sucks for you." And then they're gonna call a cab and go somewhere else and do something
Yeah.
that doesn't involve you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the difference in the cultures. And I'll take the not nice but kind over the kind but not, or, like I would take New York any day for the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. That's a good factor. I mean, I haven't spent enough time in either location to really know, but that checks out. I think it's a strong hypothesis you're presenting here.
Well, I
Um,
mean, we grew up in Philly, right?
yeah,
And we've
yeah,
been
yeah.
to New York a bunch. And then I was in LA for 3 months. So I feel like I have a strong enough sample
Yeah,
to
yeah, that's why
definitively
I
say
said that,
that.
because I know you have spent more significant time at where I've only gone there for vacations or trips or holidays, things like that. Never for more than like a week at a time.
Mm,
So I can't say I really gleaned the culture there, but stereotypes that I'm aware of check out.
yeah.
Um, I think real quick, the plot synopsis here. I'm going to keep it's kind of brief, but Hank Thompson, MLB prospect turned Big Apple burnout, finds himself in hot water after he unwittingly takes possession of a cat named Bud and a mysterious key. As it turns out, multiple henchmen are after this key and attempt to shake Hank down through intimidation, blackmail, and murder, as they believe he was caught stealing the key after it was given to him by his neighbor, Russ. I'll leave it there. I was going to go a little bit longer, but I think any of that would kind of spoil some of the plot beats if people are interested in checking this out. But yeah, I mean, there's two areas we can start with this. I should also say you said it was written by Charlie Huston in 2004. So this is a 21-year-old novel at this point. It was his first novel, three-part trilogy actually. Or I don't know if it
Mhm.
was designed as a three-part trilogy or he just like kept writing stories within this world. He's got a few other books and series at Joe Pitt Case Books, and he's actually done a lot of comic writing for Marvel, which kind of checks out as I think a little bit about the pros of this. But in terms of my earlier point, two areas to start. I mean, do you want to tell me how you felt about this book, or do you want to talk about what we were teeing up earlier of the how this plot kicks off and why Russ would do this?
I feel like we've given our high level thoughts on this. Let's dive right into the plot here
Yeah,
and just interweave book and movie.
yeah,
Russ is a dick.
yeah. Set it up for me. You know, it's-
That's the setup.
yeah,
Russ is a dick. So here's what happens. And this is in the trailers of the movie. I don't feel like I'm spoiling
yeah,
anything. If I start going too far, rein me in. Russ asks Hank, our protagonist, to watch his cat.
yeah,
Now, on the surface, and they dive into this in the book, Hank is known as this guy who's willing to help out. He's this nice guy from California living in New York. People know they can come to him for things. So Russ, his next door neighbor, asks him to watch his cat and says his dad is sick and he's got to leave town. Begrudgingly, Hank agrees, but what Russ didn't tell him was that he gave him a key that is to a place where there's $4.5 million, where everybody and their mother in the underworld is looking for it, and inserts this otherwise good guy into a incredibly violent criminal underground.
yeah.
That's all. That's all we got. Like, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I think because I didn't dislike this book or any. I liked. I it was fine. I had a decent time with it. I think I gave it a three stars maybe on Goodreads. I kind of cruised through the middle of it, but the as I really thought about why, wh- like what was Russ's motivation, or like what was the logical progression in I'm involved in the middle of this sort of money scheme that these guys are going to be using this money to kind of get out of this crime life. And this is basically their nest egg to go into retirement. And Russ is the middleman in this operation who's been, I think, not just sort of the aggregator of the funds, but I can't remember if he's going to be helping wash this money so that they can legally use it.
Hmm.
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And he decides, very close to the time when these guys want to retire and take this money, to and leave the key with his neighbor, who they don't seem like they have, an overtly close relationship, but just a kind of neighborly relationship. I just don't understand what his hope was. I don't get it.
Ah, listen, it was a dick move by Russ. Like, that's that's the best I can come up with for why you would. And I get it. I mean, he thinks that these very dangerous criminals are going to come tear his place apart looking for it, and he doesn't want them to find it. So why not put it somewhere else? Dick move.
Why not just take the
Dick
key
move.
with him if he's going to be gone anyway? Because
Yeah, that's a.
here's what I'm thinking about is if I run through the Russ logic, he's going to leave town
Mhm.
when it seems like he's still in the good graces of these people he's working with. He just needs to give them the money. Like nothing has gone wrong at this point. All
Right.
of this transpires is because he leaves town and they don't know where the money or the key is or Russ is, and it could be perceived that he took off with it. So bonehead decision number one. Russ chalks it up to seeing $4.5 million makes you do stupid things. Okay, fine. I can follow you in this logic. If I saw a pile of $4.5 million, I might not think clearly either. But he leaves town, gives the key, he tucks it in the little crate, Bud's crate, and gives it to him. Why he can't just take Bud with him either, I don't really understand. Bud seems like a very transportive cat, well accustomed to travel, so I don't know why he didn't just take Bud with him anyway, if you care about your cat that much. And the hope, I would assume, is that, okay, things cool down. He can come back, pick up Bud, aka pick up the key from his neighbor, go to the unit, and take off with the money. But if your whole end game is get to the unit, take off with the money, why not just leave town with the key? Or why not just go to the unit, which they don't know where, nobody knows where it is, take the money and go now? I don't really understand what he's thinking here.
It's an excellent point. That's all I can say. I agree. It's
Like, are we missing something? Is there some is there some ulterior motive to coming back that we're missing? Or is it just maybe a slightly stupid guy, which is how Russ is portrayed in the book, making a bit of a dumb decision because he panics over what to do with this money. And instead of dealing with it head on, he just needs to get out of or like, is the dad like, I don't even know at this point. Like, is any of the dad stuff real?
TBD.
I mean, because if it is, I mean, that okay, I get it. Maybe there is a little bit motivation, but it's like, why you could just
But
communicate
take the
that.
key.
Take the key. Why not take the key?
That's all.
Yeah,
Like, regardless of any of the other stuff that, to your point, just take the key with you. You know where they're not going to find the key? On
yeah,
your body. In the book, it's upstate New York. In the movie, it's London. Either place, they're not going to find you. And if they do, like, it doesn't matter if you have the key or not on you. So just take the key.
yeah. I mean, movie-wise, even less sense because if you are traveling all the way to London, just take Bud, take the money, go back to London. You got 4.5 million US dollars. Though I could see maybe having to convert that will raise some suspicions abroad, but
Here's the thing. You're already a criminal.
yeah,
You probably know people that are of that life back in London or somewhere in England. You can probably do it. The other thing is this book takes place in what, 2000? And in the movie, I think they say it's 1998.
yeah, I think it's 98.
Either way, this was pre-flight, screenings when everything was like, to what we have now. You could
Yeah,
basically take whatever you wanted on a plane. I mean, he checks a bag of $4.5 million to Mexico. You could probably check a bag of $4.5 million to London or upstate New York or
yeah,
whatever. And then in the book, he literally puts the cat taped to his body. He knocks the cat out with the pills, tapes it to his body, and walks right through the metal detector. Just like
yeah.
you would have been fine transporting your cat and money to wherever you're going.
And if movies have told me anything, you get to London, you got all this money, hop on hop on the train,
Got a
you can
foggy
take the
bottom.
channel, go go to Switzerland. Isn't this where we take gobs of money to, secretly do with it what we wish? Why are we
Nobody asks questions. Yeah.
if this story involved a Swiss bank account, I think this goes up easily half star in my book ratings. Like, there's never been the inclusion of a Swiss bank account that has brought down my rating of a story.
That's fair. That's very fair.
So, I mean, I will say, all, this is kind of the match strike of the story to get it started. All that aside, if I can just go along with the logic to kick this off, which, like, whatever, I do that all the time in stories. I did, I found myself after things really kick off, I was ripping through this book. Not
Agreed.
in a, I just kind of, I mean, especially, say that the plot kickoff is the first, I don't know, 10%. The, like, middle early to middle half of the book, I was really enjoying, especially we can start it, spoilers from here on out. Yvonne, like, when she was involved in this, which was a
Mhm.
shock to me when she was not involved, I couldn't believe that happened. I was really enjoying this. I kinda described it as it felt a little Fight Club light in terms of the writing style. Like, there's a little punk
Okay.
rockness to Charlie Huston and how he writes this story, and you can kinda see why he went on to write comics. Like, there's a little bit of a zip to it and, not taking things overly serious or overly formal in his writing style. It's a bit of a rollicking adventure, around the city, and I found that enjoyable. I found wondering what is going on with this key and the mystery parts of it enjoyable. I don't think it all came together for me to, like, this isn't a story where at the end I feel, like, completely satisfied and like, "Wow," like, this was a it doesn't have, if I said it's a Fight Club light, it doesn't have that Fight Club ending for sure,
Mhm.
and I don't think it's meant to. I think this is just to be meant to be a little bit of a fun pulpy read, and, it worked in that regard. My only other critique, which I'll loft this up, and then if, you have other sort of book thoughts, hit them, was it did get to the point for me where there was so much pain in this book that I just started to really struggle. I just made me feel bad at times, and specifically when Russ comes back, and Russ is like so brain damaged and can't even focus in the book, and Hank is just making bad decision after bad decision, and Yvonne is dead, and Bud has a little cast on his arm. It just got to the point where I'm like, I'm just so tired of seeing people in pain reading this. I just need something good to happen. And it just kind of did not for a bit. I don't know. I don't know if you felt that way or how you felt as the story went on.
Trigger warning here for animal cruelty.
Oh, in the book, brutal.
Once I got past the cat torture scene in the book, I flew through it. And I
Totally.
feel like that was a point I didn't like, but the suffering after that didn't really bother me because, with the exception of Yvonne, like, it was mostly criminals doing it to other criminals. Like,
Hmm.
it was gangsters fighting each other, essentially.
Yeah.
Or Roman's a cop, but he's leading these gangsters. So there wasn't really an innocence factor for me after Yvonne.
Yeah.
And, like, to your point about Russ, this is Russ's fault. All of this. If
Yeah.
Russ had just given Paris and Ed the money,
Yeah.
there's no book. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally hear you. I mean, I agree 100% with what you just said. I mean, getting through it's not super descriptive on cat torture, but it's descriptive enough
Yeah.
and it's not even what is happening, but it is the prospect of what could happen, of this poor kitty being held by this huge henchman. And you're just when I'm watching or reading the book, because I read it all, most of it. I saw the movie when I was like maybe 80% done the book. When you're reading the book, I don't know what's going to happen to Bud yet, and I'm like, I if the cat die, I know this is ridiculous. I don't know if I can finish this. Like, I just don't think I want to go on with this
Yeah.
book. So I totally get that. And it was a little bit better from the cat. Like, once the henchmen come around and it becomes sort of the through line of the book that, oh, everybody falls in love with Bud the cat. And
Even
they're
though the
like,
cat bites everybody.
yeah. And they're like, yeah, this is a pretty cool cat. Everyone who takes ownership of Bud for a little bit says that. I'm like, okay, you know, I think the defenses come down a little bit. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this will be okay.
It becomes cheeky almost.
Yeah. But to your point on Russ, I don't feel bad for I don't know. I don't It's not that I felt bad for Russ, but I think seeing somebody with clear concussion, brain damage, struggling mentally and like slowly mentally dying before your eyes over like 40 pages, it just like, I don't know, it just got to me for some reason. I'm just like, this is
That's fair.
so sad. And so,
I mean, yeah, it
yeah.
was.
Yeah, I don't know why it affected me. I mean, I watched so many ridiculous action movies, but just like having to read that, I don't know. It just it it didn't bother me in terms of the story. It kind of upset me in a way.
Yeah, I think, no, it's a totally fair. I mean, that compassion is totally warranted, I think. That makes sense. I mean, it's easier, I think, to put aside those feelings when you're reading a book or watching a movie and you're just like present for the entertainment value
Yeah.
of something. I think it's easier to do that with the movie than with a book, for sure, because you have to sit with it longer. So I guess, what I'm saying is, like, having those feelings or not having those feelings for this piece of media, I think, is totally valid, because I mean, I don't know if the movie did as good of a job as the book did, showing just like the increasing concussion symptoms, the struggles that Russ was having. Like, it really broke it down in the book.
Yeah. Which I don't know if I believe really what I'm about to say, and it could have been a factor of I read most of this book before seeing the movie. But in the movie, I I don't know how this is possible because Yvonne dies, but the stakes didn't feel the same in the movie compared to the book. And that could just be a product of having read it and know where most of this was going before. But I didn't really fear for Hank or like, I just always had this assumption that Hank is going to get out of this, he's going to get the money, and he's going to take off. And sometimes that's a satisfying ending. You know, we did Shawshank earlier this year. You want to see Andy make it to Mexico. You want to see him
Right.
get there. You want to see Red meet up with him. So like it's fine that the journey ends at the destination you would like it to, but I don't know if the journey had the type of stakes and emotional beats that something like a Shawshank did for Andy in prison. And is it fair to compare Caught Stealing to one of the greatest movies of all time? No, it's not. But I don't know. It just, some of those beats throughout didn't quite work for me. And I almost wonder if they would have if Yvonne would have stayed alive or just been a little bit in this story a little bit longer, because she felt like more of an emotional anchor to Hank for me than the phone calls to mom did for me in maybe the movie, which was a little bit more present in the movie than the book. I don't know.
It's a good point. I do agree with you that, especially in the movie, there was a sense of plot armor for Hank
Yeah,
right from the beginning. In the book, I was a little less sure that things were going to work out for him
that's true.
in any sort of positive way. I went into the book completely blind, and I wish I had done what you did / my usual, like, read a third of the book, watch the movie, and then finish the book, because at times watching that movie, I found myself being like, okay, I just want to get to this part. Like, let's skip there.
Yeah.
Because I knew what was going to happen. And I don't know if I like that very much. So I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore. Read a whole book before watching the movie.
Yeah. I will say though, I because I intentionally went with your strategy here, and I've been doing that more. Thank you for bringing that to my life. But
No problem.
I think if I want to give praise to this book, I did get to the point where I was like, should I just should I blitz read the end of this before we went to see the movie? Because I was feeling like this has its hooks in me enough that I
Hmm.
kind of want to know how this is going to end in the narrative form before I
Yeah.
see the movie. And so that's a positive of the book. Like, this is not a bad book by any means. I think it's a fun ride, but having seen the full end, I'm not sure if I would have. I think it was the right decision to kind of go see the movie and be a little bit unspoiled for my movie experience as to how this was all going to come together. So I'm kind of glad I did it with your method while praising the book.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to, no, I don't have anything to
Yeah.
add, to be honest.
I think, do you have any book specific things? Because I would like to talk through. I definitely want to hit some changes between the two, and we can talk about like what we preferred from, because we said there's 20 years between this book and this movie, so I think there was a lot of updating, and Charlie was the writer of this movie, so it's not like these changes
Right.
were made without his consent, right? He was the one driving a
Yeah.
lot of this, which I think is interesting to talk through. I'll for sure want to talk about the cast. We can talk through some scenes. They're not as prevalent in my mind because I've only seen this once compared to, we just covered Gone Girl, which I've seen twice in the past like 6 months of my life when we covered that. So those scenes are just so present in my brain. But we can talk through those things. But is there anything specific on the book side you want to get off before we start talking through some of those specific changes?
No,
Would you rate this?
actually, 4 stars on Goodreads.
Yeah, it's a three. If we always talk about the half star. If I could give this a 3.5, I would give it a 3.5.
Yeah, but here's how I do that is it's like a 3.5 plus
Yeah,
for me. So it gets the 4. And if it was like a 3.5 minus, it gets the 3.
yeah,
And I just looked it up. All 3 novels in this series are rated pretty much right at 4 stars. It seems like people pretty consistently feel the same throughout.
yeah. Okay, I cut you off a little bit there to get your rating. Was there anything final you were going to say on the book?
No, again, I liked the way the book set up some of the the twists,
Yeah.
and the movie did a pretty good job with them. I think the movie did a good job with show don't tell some of those.
hmm
Like you want to just get right into some of the changes?
Yeah, I think the only teeing up I'll do on the movie side is, like we said, this just came out. I think it released on August 29th. We said it was written by the author, directed by Aronofsky, was shot on location in New York City, which I think is cool, and probably why they maybe didn't have the budget to be shutting down all parts of New York City to go across here. They probably were like, okay, we can get Coney Island for a day. We can get, you know, this neighborhood in the Lower East Side for a day, and that's it. So I get it, but just came out. Check it out. I don't know when it'll be on streaming or anything like that, but yeah, hit your movie stuff. Let's do it.
Okay. There was a few changes that I think were really good,
hmm
and some where I enjoyed the book more.
Yeah.
The one change that I think the movie nailed, and if anybody has listened to this before, I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Show don't tell.
hmm
The lighter, as the way that he figures out that Ed and Paris are the ones who killed Yvonne and not Roman.
Yeah.
Genius. Loved it. Such a good moment for me.
Yeah. Let's sit on that one for a bit.
The part I felt was missing was one of the big moments in not trusting Roman was when the brass knuckles fall in the book out of his pocket. And that goes back to a point in the book where Roman tells Hank that Ed
Yeah.
and Paris had killed Yvonne, and that the way the bruises are because they had brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Roman drops the brass knuckles, and something triggers in Hank's brain, and that's when that park shootout happens and the chase scene, and it leads us to the end.
Yeah.
Then we learn that that was just a coincidence, quite frankly,
Yeah.
that Roman just had brass knuckles, and it really was Ed and Paris that killed Yvonne, and they came clean to him, Hank, because
Yeah.
Hank had come clean about killing their friend, who is Russ. And it was like this weird circle of everything, cultivating in the end. We didn't get I feel we didn't really get the Roman brass knuckle dropping payoff that I was hoping for that we got in the book.
Yeah. That's a lot to take in. I think the change in the movie, I did prefer, like you said, the lighter beat because it felt weird to me reading it. And maybe this was because I read that part after I saw the movie at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It felt weird to me that Ed and Paris in the book just are like, yep, sorry we killed Yvonne, and you're taking it so well. And I'm like, when did you know? Like, why do you think he knows that you killed her? It doesn't really make any sense to me. Why are you just offering this up after all of this has already transpired? It felt half baked to me in the book that Ed and Paris, compared to, like you said in the movie, where he sees him pull out the lighter, which also I'm like in the movie
Was a power move.
was it a power move? Which it
I
seemed
think
like, which I like way
just
better.
yeah.
Um,
Because the brother in the back was like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? But he knew what he was doing when he pulled that lighter out.
yeah. And I think I definitely like that better in the movie. The other thing that I've been thinking about was with this whole scene, in the book, he's laying in the back of the car because he's a wanted man at this point, and Bud is sitting on his lap and he has the gun under Bud. And after they tell him about Yvonne,
Mm-hmm.
he shoots them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, after they make the power move with the lighter, Hank is driving the car at this point and rams it in. And to me, this felt like the author, Charlie Huston, has been sitting on this book for 20 years. And reading the book, the whole backstory of Hank and the car crash, it kind of just gets forgotten in the second half of this book. Like it's never thought of again after he's with Yvonne. Like once Yvonne dies and he's not kind of in and out of not only his like kidney stuff, but having the shit kicked out of him and he's waking up off Vicodin or drunk. that's when he's having the flashbacks to killing his teammate in a car crash.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt like Charlie writing this movie was like, there needs to be a full circle moment with this accident. And he decides to ram this car into this pole, killing the other two, that movie Ed in Paris. And I think, I have questions about, how him and Bud get out of this car crash unscathed, but whatever, I can live with that. But I do prefer some follow through on that storyline that just felt like it died on the vine a little bit in the book.
I'd agree with that for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, my biggest thing there, to your point, is how did they get through unscathed? Him and the cat getting wrapped up around that pole and smashed with an airbag. It just, a little bit of plot armor there. But I do agree with you that it made that plot point feel like it had a complete circle.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Another change, unless you got more you want to talk about with those two.
I'll see what you have first. Yeah.
I think the idea to change just the character of Roman in I think in this case both work. But if you're in a visual format of a movie, if Roman, like the book, were to be a Russian older or middle-aged maybe dude, I think it would be a little bit more obvious that he is a crooked cop working with these henchmen, because
Mm-hmm.
the two henchmen who show up and beat up Hank originally are clearly, they're either Eastern European, Slavic. I forget what they said, if they were Ukrainian or something. And so if a police officer comes in to question Hank, who is
Mm-hmm.
speaking with a Russian accent of similar age to the dudes who just beat up, you might it might tip the hand that this cop is working with these henchmen. So I think the
Yeah.
idea of just casting a person who looks nothing like the henchman who beat up Hank was just, for the movie, such a great idea to throw you off, because I almost wish they would have played it a little bit longer in the movie that Roman was crooked as a police officer here. I think it would have raised the tension and the stakes a little bit more, where the reveal happens pretty quickly still in the movie, like it does in the
Mm-hmm.
book. But I thought that was a great change, because in a visual format, you're just gonna know instantly that this one Russian cop in the NYPD is clearly working with the bad guys.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I liked having Regina King in that role. I do think, to your point, especially in the visual medium, that works really well. I think because they delayed it just slightly, because in the book, Roman is there when he's tortured and his staples are being ripped out and he's the one asking the questions. But here they had Bad Bunny, who is a stand-in for the one character in the
Yeah.
book, doing that, and you don't get to know that Regina King, because then you have Regina King in the police station and you can see that there's almost like this moment where she's like feeling bad for him, and you think like she's going to help him
Yeah.
and she's going to be like the detective that saves the day. And especially if you haven't read the book, I could totally see you feeling that way. To then immediately have that switch up, I don't know, it worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it worked too. Yeah, I wish it would have just played a little bit longer, because I think it could have added a more interesting element. But it's a good change in my mind. I think making all of the distinct factions who are after this key more decipherable in the movie was helpful.
Hmm.
Because when you're reading it, it's easy. You can just look at names and you're associating it more. But it would have been really confusing in the movie if everybody was just Russian bad guys. So I liked, that, they were more of like the Yiddish, here's the Yiddish group going after this. Here's our, Eastern European group with our absolute psycho short king guy who's bowling balling himself into Hank in the hallway.
Right.
I thought overall that was a good change to not even just modernize it, but just to make it clear who's who.
I thought when he was fighting with Pavel at the end that they were going to have him move, and Pavel was gonna like just headbutt the concrete wall and like knock himself out.
Yeah.
And I was like waiting for that. I thought it was gonna be
Yeah.
really funny. And then he just gets up and just decks him. And he's like,
Dude.
and he looks at his hands. He's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the most surprising parts of the movie was, I mean, he clocked Pavel.
Yes.
I was like, it worked. I don't know. I was like, all right, Hank.
They made me feel that punch in my seat. Like that was well shot, well done. For
Yeah,
sure.
totally. That was great. Speaking of, kind of running on the train of, Hank doing things above, unexpected things. That was one I really thought with the whole driving bit, because I was wondering how this was going to play into the story. I thought it was almost going to be like the rundown with The Rock, where The Rock is like, I don't use guns. And then when he finally needs to use guns at the end, he just goes absolutely apeshit with them. I thought that was going to be Hank with the driving, where Hank keeps saying, I don't drive, I don't want to drive, I don't want to drive. And then he needs to get behind the wheel and he's going to be Mario Andretti on these streets, driving like a maniac. That's what I thought we were working toward. We didn't
Which
get that, but
what
that's
we worked towards in the book.
yeah.
That's exactly how it played out. And
That's true.
I thought that was gonna happen for sure.
Yeah. Any other changes you want to hit on? I mean, do you want to talk about? We talked about a little bit of the changes of the cast, but Matt Smith. I know you like Matt Smith, our guy Damon from House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Russ gets a more distinct role as a Londoner coming over here, looking like true. I don't know if this is how punks in New York City in the late '90s looked. I associate maybe this more with like a '70s, '80s punk, but very distinct character. How'd you feel about our guy Russ in the movie compared? I mean, he goes from an kind of a dopey idiot in the book to this character.
Yeah, that was the only character that I feel like they changed the kind of essence of the
Totally.
character.
Yeah.
All the other changes were superficial, and it's a bummer I didn't get to see cowboy hats, but I'll get over it.
Yeah.
With Russ, they did make him a much smarter criminal, much better at his job.
Yeah.
I think it worked for me. I think the dopey idiot part doesn't come across. Like you didn't have enough time with the character to get that across.
Yeah.
You almost needed it to be portrayed this way. So I was fine with the change in the movie.
Yeah. To your point that we didn't get enough time with him. One of the things that I liked in the book, I wrote down the exact line, was when Russ is starting to fade and Hank is trying to figure out what to do, and he's talking to Roman on the phone, and Russ just says to Hank, he goes, "You man, you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about." And I just loved it in the book because it was just Russ calling out that even though Russ is an idiot, this is the world he lives within. And Hank is just making mistake after, I mean, I don't know if Hank makes a single right decision in this entire story. I mean, it is just a comedy of errors where there's so many points where it's like just a plausible, like, well, okay, yes, maybe Roman's crooked. The NYPD is a very large police force. You could maybe go to a different department and seek help for what's going on here. But
The feds.
yeah, anybody. Like, hey, $4.5 million is maybe a little bit bigger than an NYPD crime.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of implausibility to that. But what are you gonna do?
You know what? There is one thing I didn't like.
Yeah, hit it.
In the book, Roman turns like Lum had tried to get the key from Hank by himself and was like, fuck Roman, blah, 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 blah. He's pissing Hank off in the car. So Hank goes, what was that you said to me? Fuck Roman when you were chasing me
Yeah.
in the bathroom? Like, how's your face feel? Like, try, just give it to him. And Roman turns around with everybody in the car and just ends him right there. No words, no nothing. He talks about how quiet the car gets. There's a clear tension, and you realize how bad Roman is. Of like he's a bad guy. In the movie, Lum is the Bad Bunny Colorado character.
Yeah,
and Regina King does shoot him point blank because he's going off the rails there and killed Amtrak and all of that. I think the aftermath of that, when she's, putting the gun in his hand and the guy's like, what is that even going to do? And she's like, I don't know. It's going to throw him off the trail. Like, it should have been a harder moment for Roman where Roman was like, says something that makes everyone shut up.
Yeah.
Like, that needed to be, I don't know how to say it, like a harder moment from her. That was the only nitpick I have on Regina King. And it's not even Regina King's performance. It's how it was written, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure she, like, the way she did it, like, she acted it well. I think that was the wrong call for changing that to more of a aloof type thing.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, Lizzie McGuire movie, Queen, Regina King. She's good. I like her in this role. I like the change, but they didn't write it in a way where there was the intimidation. I don't even think it needs to be intimidation as opposed to cold ruthlessness.
I would say cold, yeah.
Yeah, that anybody can pull off. Not anybody can pull off, but that this character should be. So yeah, I think you're spot on there. That the Roman, you also just don't understand the connections that Roman is portraying in the book to no matter what Hank decides to do, Roman is going to pin this on him or get him. Whether he kills Hank, whether Hank goes to the police, he said, you have no path here. And you don't get that same sense in the movie, I feel.
Yeah, I was fine with that because I can't think of a way you can portray that. I mean, there was that's just a lot of exposition, right? It would just be
Yeah.
like a phone call with them. You can't do it in the same way. So that didn't bother me so much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. We just talked about a bit of Regina. I mean, do you want to talk best casting? I mean, do you want to talk Austin Butler? How'd you feel about Austin Butler? Have you
He was
seen him in
fine.
stuff before? What?
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with his stuff. I think he's definitely a movie star.
Yeah,
I
he's in
think
everything right now.
he's a pretty good actor. I just need to see. Maybe I just haven't seen the right roles from him. I just kind of feel like he's got maybe some room to grow as an actor. Maybe maybe I just haven't seen it. Maybe he hasn't had a role where he can really open up. But he's like good. He's good in everything I've seen.
Yeah.
And that's I mean that as a compliment. Like he's talented. I'm not trying to say he isn't. I thought Matt Smith was good. I thought Bad Bunny was good. I thought Regina King was good. Zoe Kravitz
Yeah, not enough of her.
I think in her limited capacity in this movie was a shining spot. So that was good.
Yeah.
Carol Kane, who played Bubby, I thought that was a really well executed role too. I just think it was solid all around. I think everybody played their parts really well.
Yeah. I I thought Austin Butler was really solid in this role. I really like what he's doing. I think my first experience with him was as Tex Watson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the guy running the ranch, the Colt Ranch.
Mm.
That is where I first saw him. He also plays Elvis in the Elvis movie, which was okay with the exception of Tom Hanks' atrocious accent. If you want to get a real, I think outside of this, of like a leading man performance of his, The Bike Riders from last year was pretty good.
That was awesome.
And I think he's really good
Actually,
in that.
yeah.
He's
He
really
was
good.
fantastic in that.
And
But that felt a little bit of the same here. And it's kind of, he's got this
too.
he's got like a brooding quality to
Yeah.
him. It feels like his characters are brooding. I don't know.
He's got a sad boy energy.
Yeah, he does. He's fucking ripped though. Let's give him that. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, he was probably filming this close to Dune Part 2 when he is having to be Fade Ralpha and he's just going to be shirtless. Yeah.
Which he was awesome in that too.
Yeah. No, I think he's building a really interesting resume as an actor. And I love the decisions he's making. I thought he was fun in this. And even though, where I kind of land on this movie is like, it's a pretty good movie. Like I had a fun time. Is it going to be something that I return to, and is it going to be like an Ocean's 11 for us, or one of my favorite? Like no, but I think what I get annoyed with is I feel this is the type of movie people constantly say they want, where they're like, can we just get, and not that this is an original story because it's an adaptation, but what the hell isn't, there's hardly any original stories anymore.
Right.
This is the type of movie people cry out for. They're like, can we stop getting all the sequels and the 19th Star Wars movie and our 58th Marvel movie? Like, this is what people say they want. But then when a really original type of movie like this comes out that's pretty well cast, that's well written, that looks good, do people like show up and care enough? And I'm like, no. Like, the same people who complain about the movie industry are the ones who the only time they go to theaters is to see Fantastic Four, when they say they want movies like this and then they don't support movies like this. And this is just a little bit me on my soapbox right now, because like,
I want to counterpoint that
I think this is just like
because
the B movie we need and that we had all the time in the 90s and the 2000s that we don't get anymore.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
On most of what you just said.
Yeah.
Because I had fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that it's not going to be an all-time classic for me, but I don't regret spending the $9 or $11 to see the matinee. However, I think the other part of that is a product of the industry where the problem is it's so expensive to go to the movies. Michaela and I went to see Weapons.
Oh, Weapons was so good.
It was amazing. And I regret nothing. But you just hear me out. 2 tickets for adults plus a small popcorn plus a shared bottle of water was almost $50.
Yeah.
Which is ludicrous.
Yeah.
Right? So the other problem you have separate from that is only the major networks have their own streaming platforms. They're not going to pick up the random B movie from Columbia Pictures and put it on their streaming platform unless there's something in it for them. So the only place that movie can come out right now is in theaters. And now you have this problem of like, people need to know the movie's going to be good, really good, to want to spend $70, $80 to bring their family or to bring, their older children to see this movie. Or they have to wait for it to come out on streaming on like Prime when that comes out.
Yeah.
So it's this really weird scenario where this movie will never succeed financially in theaters, but we need it to be successful, like just successful enough that people are going to make another one. And we need to find that middle ground where like Columbia Pictures can be on, and I don't know, Tubi, Freebie, I don't know, like whatever that they are. The weird, obscure ones at the same time. It's just like they're in the sweet spot of nobody. They're behind 2 8 balls.
Yeah, and I don't know how the economics of the streaming platform works for Second Life in terms of revenue for a movie, because to me this is, and I totally agree with what you say. If you say you had 2 kids that were, I don't know, say
15 and 17.
15, 17, and I'm growing up and my dad is like, hey, let's go watch the movies. Like, my dad is spending probably $100 to, take us to the movies to see this.
And that's hard
these days. That's tough. But the difference is, back then, especially in, I would say, the early 2000s, everything like this movie, this is the classic. This would come out in theaters, would maybe barely break even or do pretty well, but it would have a second life and make so much money from cheap DVD sales. You'd pick this up at FYE for $4 or $5 in that bin, and you would run this back. I mean, every comedy movie that got made back then made so much money from physical media revenue back then.
Yeah.
Everybody owned Dodgeball, and everything, you just made so much money from those sales. And that doesn't quite like, sure, this will probably come to VOD first, and maybe there'll be some people out there who pay $9.99 or whatever on Amazon Prime to watch this movie before it hits a streaming service, as opposed to spending, like you said, $50 for a couple to go out. But I don't know, does caught stealing how do they directly have a second revenue life post theatrical release in the streaming service world? I don't know what those type of kickbacks are, or what those contracts look like, but I can't imagine it is equivalent or fully replacing DVD sales that used to happen for a movie like this, which this is such a DVD movie where you would miss it in theaters back then and then you would just buy it and watch it a million times with your dad.
Yeah, and to Matt Damon talked about this. I think it was on Hot Ones,
Yeah.
where it's the reason movies like this don't really exist is because you used to have your movie. So, like, let's say you spend $20 million on the movie.
Yeah.
Then you're going to double that on marketing, right? So now you're at 40 million. Your goal is only to make. It used to be you have to make 40 million in theaters. You have to break even because then when the DVD comes out, it's like a second release. You make another
Totally.
40 million and it's successful and everybody's happy. Now you either have to make all 80 million of that in theaters, or you have to lower your budget to be like an indie film that gets lucky and gets that wider audience, or you have to be big IP where they know they're going to sell toys, they're going to sell T-shirts, it's going to go to a theme park, it's going to whatever.
Yeah.
It's the movie industry did not do a good job adapting as the Netflixes of the world were coming up. And now we as consumers are getting screwed by not getting more caught stealings.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm sure there are much smarter people working on this than me, but
Doubt it.
yeah, thanks. I don't know if that's a compliment or the bar is so low. I
Could be
don't,
both.
yeah, little column A, little column B. I don't know how on a streaming service, like say HBO says we're gonna pay to bring Caught Stealing to our platform. I already have HBO. I don't think maybe there's some people that you're looking like, okay, when we brought this to HBO, how many people signed up for new subscriptions then? Like, I'm sure you could make some leaps of logic there, but I think that's a faulty leap to begin with. So then you're just looking at, how many people are watching the movie on your platform. But it's not like me watching this on HBO Max is providing any direct revenue to Caught Stealing other than maybe them just keeping it around longer. So it's like, how are we weighing the success or failures of things on streaming in terms of helping us get more and better and even less expensive movies when it's so hard to draw the links between what is successful and not successful out of just how many people are watching this, which doesn't provide any end benefit to the actual people who made this movie.
I think my gut reaction here is I agree that that is probably one of the metrics, how many people, but I bet you there's also a correlation between how frequently somebody uses the service,
Yeah.
when that starts to dwindle, and when they stop paying for it. So the more movies HBO brings that makes you use that platform specifically, the more likely you are to keep your subscription.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
This is like my gut instinct on how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of like programming, like, okay, if we retain renewals month over month, that means people are liking the slate of things we're bringing each month and the movies we're selecting.
Right.
But it's not as cut and dry as saying this sold 4.5 million DVDs its first year
Yeah,
of
it
release.
used to
Like,
be
it
easy.
used to be
Yeah.
just apples to apples, and it's just not anymore. And I don't know how I just, I have some sympathy for someone like, I don't know if it's the person like Aronofsky who also, produces, who's trying to get things sold. Like, what are you selling the dreams of this on when you don't really have as much of that second life anymore?
Right.
And it's not like they have access to the metrics on the streaming side that are just owned by all these large tech conglomerates at this point. Oh man, it's tough. But I guess we got on all that because we were just saying that, this is a pretty good movie, and it's tough when you just wonder you want more things like this. Like, I feel like this middle type of movie has just gotten squeezed out. And yeah, it's hard because like this is just, it's a pretty fun ride.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
We did our part. We
yeah, we
went.
did. Yeah, we did.
Okay, I want to get on my soapbox a little bit here because I
Yeah.
went to Studio Movie Grill. I was pretty disappointed, to be honest.
I don't even know
Uh,
what that is. We don't have one of those.
It's kind of like an Alamo Draft
Okay,
House or
Cinebistro, yeah.
iPick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cinebistro. And it's supposed to be a little, nicer, a little more upscale. I was eh.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was kind of beat up, which is fine. I get that not everything can be brand new all the time, but like my you have to hit the button to get service. My button didn't work. And then I was like, it's just not worth spending the money on the food here. If like I gotta be reaching over to other seats to hit buttons, like that's fucking weird. I
Yeah.
don't know. And then it was the previews all played with the lights on, which
Mhm.
I thought was weird. I didn't like that.
Yeah, so people serving food can not trip over, especially if there people are reclining.
I hear you. There
Oh,
was
I'm just saying that's
3
probably why the
people in
lights
this
were on,
movie
yeah.
theater,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, there's 3 of us. Just let us have the dark experience. You
Yeah.
don't need I don't know. I'm just I was it was reasonably priced. It was
Yeah.
$11 after taxes and fees. That's fine. But it was also a matinee pricing, and I was just a little disappointed with the experience overall.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a membership to Cinebistro, which is a place like that. We pay it's
Yeah,
$20 a month for our 2 tickets.
that's not bad. Can you go as much as you want?
You can't in theory, no, but you earn so many rewards by going that I've never paid for a ticket outside of just the membership.
Okay.
So I checked it. I was looking at it earlier this week. We've seen, I think this was our 17th movie in theaters this year. So at roughly $22 a month, we're not paying a ton for the actual movies. But um,
Breaking out a calculator.
yeah, I mean, how many months in are we? Let's just say 9 times 20 is like, what is that? Like 180. We're 180, close to $200 we spent for
And you've seen 17
about
movies. Let's
17
say that
movies.
the average price
That's like,
is $15. It's like 255.
yeah,
And if you get any rewards out of that, like a popcorn or
yeah.
whatever, like
I mean,
you're already saving money on just tickets.
we have $5 to $10 off food and drink. We have like 13 vouchers to use. We always get, the $5 unlimited popcorn. But yeah, I mean, we've been considering a switch we live walking distance to a Regal, and I've been on record that I think their popcorn is the best.
Yes.
And ours has a bar, and they have way better programming. They just have more theaters. They show a lot of old stuff. Monday movies are like $3 or $4. It's just way better. So we've been considering a switch to there, but who knows? We'll see. I guess wrapping up the caught stealing conversation was, the scenes aren't as crystal clear in my mind because I just saw this one time and I didn't, it's not like I'm taking notes in the theaters, but were there any scenes that stuck out in your mind as your favorite?
I thought the eating scene, Bubby's house, was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think the car chase scene was really exciting.
Hmm.
I really liked the opening of this movie. We didn't talk about it. I thought this, and I know I tell you I'd never heard the soundtrack. I was pretty aware of this soundtrack throughout the whole movie, but it was awesome. And the
Yeah.
opening scene, not the baseball thing, but after that, where it's like dark, you come down into the city, into his bar. The scenes in the bar were all fantastic. I really enjoyed the way those were shot and acted, and they were fun, and it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Soundtrack leaned heavily on sort of post-punk band, The Idols, British punk
Yeah.
band, which is great, great stuff. I really set the mood for this. And, I was thinking a lot of, 90s punk, like a Rancid type of soundtrack would have been cool. I thought they did a good job with it. I really liked both in the book and the movie the scene where the bad guys go into Paul's bar and Paul goes out
Yes.
firing. That's just classic action movie stuff that I just found enjoyable.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I completely agree. It was great.
yeah, I enjoyed that. Like you said, the whole chase at the end, I think worked pretty well for me. I loved him clocking Pavel. That stuff was good. I thought, Yvonne and the romantic relationship between them in the movie, I felt they were more of a couple in the movie than they were
Yes,
in the book.
definitely.
In the book, it was more she's in love with him, he's not quite as in love with her. And it
Yeah.
was a little bit more equal,
I
equal
like that
love in the
change.
movie. Yeah.
I think that was a good decision.
Yeah, which was a nice change. Yeah, I'm sure over time, we'll have better scene thoughts, but those are the ones that
Yeah.
stick out on first viewing. I did love the scene when they were going through Shea Stadium, and what did what he? Oh, the guy had the Giants hat on, and he was
Yes.
like, "This guy just said fuck the Mets or whatever."
Yeah.
So he gets all the Mets fans to try and beat up one of the guys whoever was in the Giants hat. I thought that was great.
That was
That made me
it
laugh.
was
Was it Pop?
Pavel,
Yeah, it
and
was.
he was in Austin's Giants hat that he took,
Yeah,
the one, like, through thing throughout the and I thought that was really good too. I laughed.
yeah, that was really funny. Yeah, all the stuff with, I mean, sucker for it. Everything. Bud was a great movie cat, a great movie companion, very cute.
Mhm.
I think it worked. I'm glad that they did not show us anything with Bud in the movie.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they made him just he's a little limpy, that's it.
A little limpy, but the cast was like pretty cute. One time our cat had to get his teeth cleaned, so they had to knock him out. So they shaved
Mhm.
around both of his front
Mhm.
paws and just the little shave. Oh my God. I'm like, can we just shave these all the time? You look adorable, little buddy. Just adds a little flair to their life. I was like, this is great. Yeah. I mean, and it was good to see him at the end. I actually, okay, talking about a change that we can kind of wrap up, maybe even hear of. I liked in the movie that he makes it to Mexico. He's sitting there with Bud on the bar countertop, and he's got the Giants game on, and he turns it off. And they didn't have that in the book, but it felt more of him saying he has been so stuck in the past and in his past mistakes in his life and of his failure to make it to the MLB after his knee injury from the accident. And he's tired of letting other things, aka the Giants, dictate his life and his happiness. And he says, I'm shutting this off and it's time to move on. It's time to make
Yeah,
something of my life. And I thought that was a way better ending in the
I
movie than
agree.
in the book. But I thought that was
The
cool.
and it's interesting because you say it's way better. That was a very small change
Yeah.
to how the book ended, like, very small, but
Yeah.
those small changes have meaningful impacts. I agree.
Totally. Yeah. So I mean, I'd say good. If I were to give this out of 25, I would say whatever is like in kind of that B minus territory. Like this is it's pretty good. I don't know if that's
Like a
like an
2021?
yeah. I was thinking maybe like I guess 20. Yeah, I guess a 4 out of that would be an
Yeah.
80. Yeah, I don't know, maybe like a 19 or 20. It was
Okay.
good. It was good. I thought the changes they made worked. I think the hangups I have are more of the start of the story as we kind of litigated at the beginning here.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I felt the stakes in the movie that I thought there were in the book. And that's my only hang up in terms of the adaptation. I thought they made a lot of other
Mm.
really smart changes in the movie. And it felt like Houston had been thinking on this story a little bit more over these 20 years and wanted to add some things, which I thought for the most part really worked. So, I think this is a fun one to throw on and watch. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I rated it a little bit. When I first came out of the movie, I was like, "Yeah, that was pretty good." Like, but I had also just finished the book that morning, and I
Yeah.
really liked some things in the book that I didn't get in the movie. But
Hmm.
then the more I sat with it last night and the more we talked about it today, the more I actually wanted to increase my rating
Yeah.
of this. I just needed a minute, and I have it at about a 21.
Yeah.
So if you're at like a 19.5 and I'm at a 21, we're like just over a 20 in that B minus range. I think that's
Yeah.
a really solid spot for this
Yeah.
adaptation of Caught Stealing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Sometimes you just need a movie that's a B, and this is not a. It's not. To be. I'm sure that people who make this like want it to be an A, but this is a good movie to have. It's like it's not
It's a
that
good movie.
expensive of a movie. It's like $40 million budget. That's not that these days. That's not a lot.
Right.
So we need more
A
things like
B is good.
this.
A B
Yeah.
is above
Yeah.
average.
A B is good.
You know what I mean? Like you made a quality movie with a B.
Yeah. Any who won the movie for you?
Probably Austin Butler. I feel
Yeah.
like he just wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
He
know what I
was
mean? Like
he was
I
good.
can't explain it. He's got that movie star quality to him. He's got the
Yeah.
it factor.
Yeah. He's got it for sure.
And I'm gonna watch whatever he puts out next. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like this changed nothing about how I was like, because I thought he was good. Like
yeah. I'd say and for sure him. Bud the cat could easily have won the movie for me. Probably won the
that's
movie
true.
for me.
I would love to see him and that cat do another movie together.
Yeah,
Not like the sequel to this. Well, maybe the sequel to this. I don't know, but something. I would like to see him and that cat together because I thought his relationship with the cat was pretty funny. I thought he nailed it in the movie.
Yeah, and I know they were doing promos and press together, him and the cat, which is great stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's funny. I didn't see any of those.
I'm knee deep on that. I just can't get over when they were beating up Hank in this movie and Pavel just rolls himself and throws his entire body into Hank. like literally bowling ball. I was like,
yes,
this guy is a menace, an absolute menace, and I live for that type of henchman energy. And
yeah,
Pavel brought it, and I appreciate that, which I thought that was good.
So to recap, the two biggest knocks on this movie are the stakes didn't feel as high in the movie, and there was no cowboy hats.
Yeah, Ed and Paris. I think they were black cowboys, right?
Yep.
In the book. Yeah.
Well, because they got sent to the troubled youth facility in Montana
after they were in school with Russ. Yeah.
No, Russ met them.
Okay.
In Montana.
Gotcha. Yeah.
In the book.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know if they made all those connections quite as clear in the movie.
There was a lot of really good world building in the book for how short it was. I think it was done really well.
Yeah, you kind of knew what everyone was bringing to the table here, and their motivations.
I think you should read the book. To be honest, like people, if you enjoyed this movie at all, or you like this type of thing at all, I recommend the book.
Yeah. I mean, super short. This was I think it was like two on the Kindle, which I read this on. I think it was 230 pages to get to the epilogue. Maybe it wasn't long.
That's super short.
Yeah, I cruised through this. Anything else you got?
No, I think covered this pretty sufficiently. I think.
Agreed. Yeah, it was a good one. I was glad we did it. It kind of came up quick. With this movie, it wasn't really on my radar. I think when we started the year, and then we saw some sort of report on adaptations coming out. We picked it up. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Next, I think we'll be doing Shutter Island. It will officially be October I guess close to when this episode comes out, but our following episodes will be our October, so we'll be heading into the spooky season. First up will be Shutter Island. Nick and I are working through what we're going to do after that in terms of our Halloween horror adjacent or just straight up horror episodes. If you have any thoughts or questions, you can reach out to us. Follow us on Instagram, Rewatch Play Podcast. Email us at rewatchplay@gmail.com. Follow us on all your major platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Rate and review 5 stars only, as those help more people find the show. Tell your friends about it as well if you're enjoying it. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thank Nix for... I need to change my doc. I say every time, thank Nix for joining me. Thank you, Nick, for joining me. I had a good time with this one.
Yeah, go Birds.